So now we're going to go ahead and remove the shift linkage cable. Back over here underneath the brake master cylinder, driver side, you have the shift linkage cable bolt, 15 millimeter right there, and two 13 millimeter bolts holding the shift linkage cable bracket to the top of the transmission. Pretty simple. Once you get them out of there, pull the cable up and out of your way. So to remove the actual bolt for the shift linkage cable, just come all the way back to the back side of the brake booster behind the master cylinder. It's easy access. Give it a twist. Once you have the nut removed, just reach down in there, give it a wiggle, and it pops off. Went and grabbed my magnet to get my socket out of there. Now to remove the bracket, come out a little bit here to show you. In between the two brake lines here on your master cylinder, to access the front bolt, just go right next to the front brake line, and then to access the bolt in the back, the second bolt, go behind the rear brake line. Pull the bracket up out of your way. Again, just replace the bolts back in the same holes they came out of. And to get the shift linkage cable out of the way, just pull the wires back, pull it out from behind the air box here, pull it up and out, just take it, spin it, and bring it to the windshield. I always put a rag on this, so it's not to chip the window or anything. Since we're already on the side With the shift linkage cable, we're going to go ahead and remove the front piece of the heat shield on the exhaust manifold crossover pipe from the front exhaust to the rear. To get access to the 3 bolts off the front manifold, you do have to remove this front piece. This heat shield here, you don't have to remove it to get to the 3 on the back side. You just won't be able to see the 1 bolt, but I'll show you where it's at. So 10 millimeter wrench, loosen these up. That one there, and then down here there's 2 more on top and the bottom. With those 3 bolts removed, simply just pull the heat shield up and out. Now that we've removed the heat shield, we'll get to the front of this, the front exhaust manifold. There's 3 bolts. I don't know if you can be able to see all 3 of them. One here, and then one on the bottom. Again, 13 millimeter. If yours are rusted on pretty good or stuck, just, you know, some PB blast or something to remove them. We'll see how these are going to come loose. I've had it where the bolt doesn't come off, but the stud comes out. That's fine. The stud coming out or the bolt coming off doesn't matter. They're threaded in there, so. You just kind of got to feel up underneath of there. Get your socket on the last bolt. This one here, like I said, the stud completely came off, but it's a threaded stud, and if you have to, you can remount the stud that way, but it's rusted on there. Two. And the third one. Front one's loose, and we'll move to the back one. All right, so we just got done removing up here in the front of the cross tube, those 3 bolts. Now we're gonna move to the back and remove the 3 on the back side. There's gonna be one here. The other 2, I don't think you see on the camera. There's one buried over here, and then one right underneath back. Oh, you can't. One here, one up here, and one there. To make it a little bit easier on yourself to get one of these, it will make it a lot easier to get in there and get the bolts. Again, 13mm socket. Just look underneath. Set it on there. One. That's it. With those 3 bolts removed, just take your crossover pipe, wiggle it out, lift up, and put it to the side. So just like I was showing you guys with the wires, unmarking them, I have my tub of tubs, and I just put in, these are all my bumper bolts, and now the exhaust bolts that we just took out, and I just start filling these little gray boxes that I have with stuff that I don't put back on the motor. Well, our transmission's gonna be sent out to be rebuilt, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the starter because I can't go with it anyway. Figured I'd show you how to remove it. There's 2 bolts to put on and off the starter, one underneath, one on the top, 15mm, and then the wires that we removed would be the only thing that you have to do if you were just doing a starter on your car. Remove the 2 bolts, pull it out. We're over on this side. Just going to go ahead and remove the heater core hoses. Get them out of our way. Again, just like the wiring, take and mark your hoses. Instead of numbers, use letters. And you'll know which hose goes to which side. You don't have to worry about remembering what goes where. And mark it down your notepad if you wanted. Heater core hoses. Get them out of the way. Sometimes they stick. If they do, I'll show you a little trick to remove them if they stick. Sometimes where the clamps grab the hoses, and we're gonna definitely come across that on the upper and lower radiator hoses. Carefully, you can take a screwdriver because you don't want to mar up your hose or rip your hose. Put a screwdriver up in there and break it free. Once you break it free, give it a quarter turn twist in either direction, and that'll break it free to where you can wriggle it up and off. Same thing with the other one. Try and give it a quarter turn, and that one came off no problem. And out of the way. Again, just going to take those and tuck them up underneath the wiper blade for now. Get them out of our way. There is a tool. I don't have it, and I'm not going to buy it. There is a tool that you can get from the top and inside a 1/2 inch drive that will do this. I don't do it. I have 3 hose clamps. 3 hose clamps. I sit there and stick it over the top and the bottom. And then I just tighten down the hose clamps, compressing the spring, releasing the belts. And with that tightened down, as far as I can get it to go, come back up top, it gives me enough play to remove the pulleys, or excuse me, remove the belt from the pulleys. And I just leave the clamps in place until it's time to put it back together. Next, we're going to go ahead and just go right to removing the alternator. 4 bolts, 2 up here, 2 identical bolts right down here between the firewall and the alternator bracket. All right, so to remove the alternator, it's 15 millimeter size bolts. You're going to need, well, I use a socket, little swivel, and a wrench, 15 millimeter wrench. Swivel I use for this back corner right here off the pulley, the one in the back corner, and I access it right from the strut mount top. And then the wrench just around the back on the opposite side, and just push down. And take the bolts out. Remove the alternator. We're going to leave the alternator bracket on the car because we're going to use this as a hoisting point when we go to lift the motor and transmission up and out of the car. Leave them sitting there. And we'll move on to the power steering pump reservoir. So hose back here, another hose underneath the wiring harness right here. And this gets a little messy, so I'm going to grab a few rags so we don't spill too much of that